Okay, so I've got a confession to make. I have absolutely screwed up on an image that I was shooting recently in Oslo, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of trickery to fix it. And in this video, I'm going to show you what that problem is and how I'm going to solve it. Hi, I'm Craig Turner-Bullock from Unleashed Education, and you're watching another editing toolbox video. In these short videos, Charlotte and I take turns each to share quick tips, tricks and techniques that we hope will help make editing your pet photography a little bit easier. If you enjoy what you see in these quick videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So this week I am looking at a session I did while I was in Oslo. I have really messed up my plates for this, so I will show you exactly what I mean. Let's take a look at the first image. So here we have the dog that I've been working with, and of course in this shot we have the owner and the leash. Not all was lost because I was clever enough to photograph a blank plate, knowing that I'm going to need that to edit the person out. So let's have a look at the blank plate. Problem, I have moved my focus point by mistake, so the background is now in focus. All is not lost. Now if I look at the problem here, how am I going to fix it and think about that? Now I could try making a selection and using generative fill. I don't really love using generative fill, and I also know that this image is going to be printed and that this area that I'm going to select is not going to be in a good enough resolution using generative fill to make the image look good in print. I could use the patch tool or the remove tool. Again, good options, but that's a lot of space in the image to fill in, and I'm not going to really get a precise result from that. What can I do with this image to make it work for me? Well, let's take it into Photoshop and have a little play around with the field blur tool. So I have already opened these individually in Photoshop. And what I need to do is match the amount of blur in the background of this image to the amount of blur in the background here. And to do that, I'm going to use field blur. So I'll duplicate this layer and I'll go up to Filter, Blur Gallery, and field blur, and we can now increase the amount of blur in the background here. I think we'll probably need a fair bit, maybe here. If I go back to Lightroom, let's take a look. So I'm just kind of looking at the edges, how much detail is in the background here, and then in this structure this side, which is what I'm really going to need here. I think that's around about right. So let's just go OK there. That has applied the blur now, so I'm going to move this layer over onto the other image. So I'll grab the move tool, drag that onto this image and put that in place. And let's have a look. Now the field blur tool, as you can see, it doesn't do a great job with bokeh, although we do have some control with bokeh in there. I'm not too worried about that because I don't need this side. I just need this bit really here. And I've got the red lights on here, so I just need this bit and a little bit of the sky there. I think that's going to work nicely. So what I can now do is just reduce that layer opacity and see if I can line this up, which I can do relatively easily. The scale might be a little bit different here too. Yeah, that matches up there much better. So the sky is going to look much better there as well. We have got this to deal with, but this is an image that I'm going to crop differently anyway, so I'm not too worried about the fact that we can't get rid of the dog's owner from the top there. Okay, so let's do that. Turn that back to 100%, grab the mask, and let's invert that layer with Command and I. Grab the brush tool with a white brush, and let's start painting this away. Now I have got a problem here with the blur on the rock, but that's also okay. I think I can manage to get rid of that with patching and content aware, etc. I'm pretty happy with that. There is a little bit of discrepancy in colour, and there's probably a little bit there that needs to come up. So let's just transform this and just shift it up with the arrow key slightly so that line matches here. Check that it looks okay on the clouds and sky. I think that's pretty good. And then if you want to blend in a little bit more, you can. So you can just change that opacity of the brush there, just to let that kind of color gradient blend in slightly more. It's not precisely the same color and exposure now we've played with the blur, I think, but it's close enough to make this pretty convincing. I'm just gonna take this off here just to preserve as much of that rock as I can, although I'm going to end up editing this out. We may as well just make that water match up here too. Okay, I think that's enough to be able to get away with it. And then I think that transition over here is all okay as well in the water. I don't think it's too obvious that I've played around with this. That's the problem, and that's how we fix it without worrying that we didn't get an accurate background plate. I will carry on finishing this off now. I'm going to use the patch tool and maybe the remove tool to get the shoes gone, and I'll show you the finished image afterwards. Okay, that's it. That's with the cloning and patching done to remove the rest of the shoes. And I think I have a reasonably convincing edit here that matches up nicely, and both of those out of focus areas. I hope that that has been helpful for you, and it's a good tip for you to maybe save a shot that you've missed when you've got a blank plate but you've refocused. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer as well, as always, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.